as you may know, tonight is the fourth and final night of the Democratic National Convention. Our team verified some of the statements from night 3. Here's Jason Puckett.
Wednesday was a packed night with speeches by Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and of course Kamala Harris. But it was actually 2 other speakers we're fact-checking right now. Let's start with the claim from Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi.
More than 5 million Americans are infected by the coronavirus.
This is false. We have had more than 5 million cases of COVID-19 total in the U.S., but all of those people aren't currently infected. Johns Hopkins data shows an estimated 2 million people have recovered in the U.S. and another 170,000 have died. That leaves about 3.4 million people that could be infected right now. Next, a claim from Senator Elizabeth Warren.
Today, America has the most COVID deaths in the world.
This claim is true but needs context. Data from the CDC and Johns Hopkins show that the United States does have the most COVID deaths in total. But we also have the 3rd largest population in the world. If you adjust the deaths by population, we're no longer the top of the list. Johns Hopkins breaks down the mortality rate in 2 different ways. One chart looks at deaths per 100,000 people. The U.S. is 12th in the world on that list. And a separate chart compares the observed case fatality ratio, which is found by dividing the number of deaths by the number of total cases. On that chart, we're 4th in the world. Folks, we have more claims from all 3 nights of the convention up on our website right now. If there's another claim you want us to look into, send us an email. With your Verify, I'm Jason Puckett.